So let's talk about consecrated leaders, what they are and what they are not. A consecrated leader, they've been consecrated before birth. It will always come from a lineage of kings. And God does it that way so you know, because it's coming from the same family line. Now, throughout history, there's been all this illegitimate here, and but that's why God keeps that consecration in the lineage. It doesn't mean they're all going to go on to do good things, okay? And so, and it doesn't mean that they won't sin. Doesn't mean they're sinless. I'm going to do a different video about why God allows leaders that he consecrates to sin. That's a separate video I'll do. I want to specifically talk about Donald Trump, because at this point, if you think that, it's been in the double digits that they've tried to assassinate him, and if you don't think that God's trying to get you to see that that's not just luck, I want you to recognize I consecrated him. It does not mean, because there's times when I support Trump, I say it. When I don't, I don't. And a lot of times it's because I get very confused with him. And naturally anybody would, because, anybody that's just an everyday person. Because the consecrated kings, God makes sure that they are wealthy. They have to be. Look at Donald Trump would have never been able to run for president had he not been. But he's had a very blessed life. And I'm not trying to take away from him like, oh, God just gave it to him. No, he's worked hard for it. And his attitude is, this, everything is positive thing. That gets on my nerves. Not because I'm negative, but because for the most of us, we weren't consecrated before birth. And not that I'm jealous about that. It's not a jealousy thing here. But this is why when Jesus came, even though we know he's king, he wasn't living like a king. Because he was showing that most of us, even though, yes, that's what he does. He consecrates kings. He consecrates leaders and prophets. I would say it's more leaders today, not so much prophets anymore. Prophets that are telling the future and that stuff. I don't believe those people. I don't. As far as the leaders, yes, God is still doing that, clearly. That said, Jesus, walked what most of us would walk, which is why he told us that if the world hates me, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. I can fully relate to Jesus's walk. Not to, obviously, the crucifixion point. But, see, once you start walking with God, that wicked one, at first you just think, oh, it's these weird things, this weird bad luck you have. I've had people say to me, you have the worst luck. And it's like, no, when you're really walking the walk, you're not going to end up like Donald Trump. He was consecrated beforehand. There's maybe a handful of people that can get that big, become a billionaire that did it legitly, but that's questionable. Like Charlie Kirk, he wasn't walking the walk. That's the reason he got all the followers. That's the reason the whole world loves him. So I started walking with God when I got sober, which I first got sober in my early 20s. That's young. So, and then I had a relapse for 2 years, but then got back on track. So like from my mid-20s to today, I've walked that walk with God. And I can tell you, that wicked one does everything to throw obstacles in your way. In fact, I've been praying. I'm like, God, you could just please, contain him, to stop throwing obstacles in my way. Really. People like Donald Trump, though, and this is when I get angry sometimes with him, because he was brought up on, Norman Vincent Peale, the power of positive thinking. That all sounds great, right? I'm not trying to encourage people to be negative. But what I am trying to say is about being realistic. Everybody's like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Your purpose is to do God's will. Does that mean God doesn't want you to have dreams and go after what you want? No, but make sure that you're doing it for him. Like for the past several years, I made it clear. I mean, I'm a registered nurse, a psych nurse, okay? I'm a registered nurse, but I work in psych. And I like working with patients in mental health. But it's not, the hospital system has destroyed itself so much that because of C-suite and the toxic, top, because of it all being about this. And I've been a Republican. It's both when it comes to the healthcare system. I don't think it will never be fixed to where it once was. Like there was a time when we could actually help people. Now it's like if you do something proactive that helped a patient, they want to say you shouldn't have done that, or AI said that, and it's like just stop it. They just make everything worse. C-suite always makes everything worse. They do. So I'm just that's just a. Just put the headstone, the gravestone on it, okay? It's not, to repair that would take a miracle from God, okay? But even with not being happy, it's like every day, the way I look at it is use me, God, and however you can. Even though I'm not happy doing this, I used to be, I want to be, but I'm not. I still, want to serve you. That's what people's purpose should be, is how can you serve God? And again, I'm a sinner, okay? I'm not some saint, or not even close. But when I hear people push that, it's all about your attitude, that's not true. Attitude plays a big role in it, but also being realistic does. And what Jesus said goes before whatever motivational speakers say. I tried this whole, the secret path, which is the power of positive thinking. Again, I'm not trying to tell people not to be positive, but there's also, God always, brings me back to it's about being realistic. What did I say would happen if you're walking with me? If you're truly walking the walk, you're not going to have $1 billion like Charlie Kirk. I mean, talk about a grifter there, but not even walking the walk. The people that truly walk the walk, that wicked one recognizes them right away and starts throwing. They won't be able to take you out. They won't be, harm you physically, but they will throw obstacles. And when I say they, it's like it's not a specific person. It's just these stupid things happen, and it annoys the hell out of you. Okay. That's really the reality, because that's what Jesus showed. That's why he suffered. That's why I understand why he suffered so much, and the closer you get to Jesus, the more you will feel that suffering. You will. Not that he wants you to suffer. It's just that you want it to you want him to truly return, because he's the only one that can fix it. There will never be a utopia until he returns. Okay? And we're not told when that is. But you're supposed to pay attention to the signs, as the Bible says. So there's a difference. Donald Trump, because of being consecrated before he was born, it doesn't mean he didn't work hard. I wouldn't say that at all. He's definitely worked hard. But he had more open doors to him than a lot of us. And believe me, I am not one that has ever been like, oh, the rich, the rich, the rich. I'm usually just like, I don't really care. I don't really pay attention to it. I'm usually, like, I may every now and then wonder what it's like to have that lifestyle, but I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not looking to take their money because I feel like it should be redistributed, or, I'm just not like that. I'm just usually, especially because of at a young age, starting that walk with God, I'm usually just wanting to hopefully be accepted by him. So to me, it's just about doing his will. So I wanted to say that. I will follow this up with another video breaking down the 3 reasons that God will allow a king king leader that he consecrates before birth why the 3 reasons he will allow them to sin.